Hello, it's MrSorbias here, and today we are going to create a system that will automatically generate for us random textures. Okay, so let's first create the basics of this thing. So we will delete this default cube and we are going to add here a plane instead. And let's go in edit mode with tab and then S and then 4 to scale it to be 4 times bigger than the original. And then we will go here to the item tab and we are going to lock all of these so we don't accidentally move this plane around. And then we can delete this or light source because we don't need it, and then let's select this or camera. And for the camera we will set the rotation to be exactly 0, so it's going to be pointing down like this. And then for the Y and X axis we will put also 0, so it's going to be located in center pointing towards the plane. And then this Z can be whatever. And then we will go here to the camera settings, click this and change the type to be orthographic like this, and then we will change the orthographic scale to be 8. So now if we go to camera view, you see that it's matching the size of this plane instead, but not in this direction. So to fix that we will go here to the output properties and we will put here 512, and it's also now matching the plane. But actually we can do a little bit bigger texture size, so let's multiply this with 4 to have 248 pixel size texture, which I think is quite much enough. So let's go here to the shading tab and then we are going to close all of this. So right click here and then join areas and then join here, and then also right click here and join areas, and now we will click here new and let's rename this to be something like pixel pattern. And we can delete this, select this and press X. And then we will add here an emission shader instead. So Shift plus A, search emission. This one, and connect it to the surface. So let's add here a checker texture. Shift plus A, search checker texture. And if we connect it to the color of this emission shader, you see that it's matching the size of this plane perfectly also with this setting. So if we put here 1, we are going to have only one single rectangle here, and if we put here 2, we will have 4 rectangles. And you should be thinking these rectangles to be pixels actually. So this basically is a texture of 4 pixels. That helps a lot if you think it like that. So 4 pixels, and we are going to duplicate this. So Shift plus D and then you need the add-on called Node Wrangle. So let's go here to edit and then preferences, and then we will find here add-ons and then search Node Wrangle and activate that and then save preferences, and then you can close this thing. So now when you have the Node Wrangle, you also have here all of the settings that you can use with the Node Wrangle, and also you have some helpful shortcuts which I'm going to use. So Control plus Shift plus right click and we can mix nodes like that, and it will automatically create for us this kind of mix node. We will put here for the second one to be 4. So let's keep it to be 0.5. So now when we have 4 of those, we have we doubled the resolution of this texture. And let's duplicate this again, Shift plus D, and then let's mix it with this one. And you can open it also. And then this is going to be 8. And then we are going to duplicate it again and mix it. By the way, it doesn't matter if you mix it with this one or this one. The result is not going to be the same, but it's going to be different result, and it's going to be cool anyways. So that's a good idea to kind of do very weird mix settings here, and it will change the results. So I will put here now 16 and then I will duplicate it again, and let's mix this one with the first one here. or whatever you like to. And then this is going to be a 32. And then we are going to duplicate again. I believe you understand what we are doing here. And then let's mix it with one of those mix nodes. And this is going to be a 64. And then let's duplicate again, and let's select here, I don't know, this one. And then this is going to be a... You can actually, by the way, put here multiply with 2, so you don't need to write those numbers, which sometimes is helpful if you are working with big numbers. So, okay, let's mix here again, and then this is going to be 256. And let's duplicate this one, and I wanna go a little bit like here maybe. And then this is going to be a 512. So now we have kind of the effect what we wanted to have here. And then what we are going to do here is that we will add a little bit more space here, and we will add here a noise texture. So Shift plus A, search noise texture, and add it here. So it's supposed to be connected to the vector of this noise texture, and then we use this factor to connect it to the emission shader. And then we will add here a color ramp. So Shift plus A again, search, and then find here color ramp, and add it after the noise texture. And now if we move this color ramp thing here, we will start seeing patterns, which looks cool. It depends very much on what you did here. Everything you do here will change the texture. If you change here the color, it will change the end result, as you can see. So whatever you do, it will always change the final result somehow. And then whatever you do here with this noise texture, it also is changing the final result. So if you go here to the 0, you will get completely black texture. And then if you move forward, it will gradually also make the texture more complex, as you can see. And then if you change the details, it also is kind of changing the texture. Actually, if you go here like this and then use the details, you can kind of find the different variation of the same. You can call those kind of a seed. Everything you do here is the seed of the pattern you are having here. And then the roughness is doing its own effect, and then the distort also is going to have its own effect for the final texture. And now what we are going to do next is to change this color ramp here. So let's change the linear to be instead constant. And with this we can now add some colors to this. So I will change this white to be a yellow, and it doesn't do anything here because if we move this, you see that everything actually is happening here in the center area of this color ramp, and it's not exactly what I wanna have. I wanna use the whole area of this color ramp, and to fix that problem is that I can add here the node called map range. So Shift plus A, search, and then map range, and add it here after the noise texture. And now if we now go here to the end of this thing, we can now change the max value here. We wanna go to the limit where it's still black, but it's kind of the last possible black that there is. I don't know, does it make any sense? But now we have here a little bit more space. It stops here to the end, just like it's expected to do. And then we will go here to the left side of this thing, like this, and then we will change the min value also. We actually wanna have here yellow, like this. So now we have the whole scale of this color ramp to be used. You can create a fabric kind of textures, or you can do something like I'm doing here, something like a little bit more sci-fi type of thing. So I am using here yellow and red, maybe a little bit more red, and then I will add here a blue color, and then I will add another blue color which is going to be dark blue. And I have found out that this looks pretty cool. Yeah, so the idea is that I am having the highlight color, which is going to be this yellow, and then a little bit more of this red, which is kind of, I don't know what to call those. Maybe it's special effects color, and then this blue color kind of makes it look like a sci-fi, and then this dark blue, it's going to be a very fine effect here in the dark areas. So there still is details, but not like too overwhelming. So that's the idea of these my colors. And now if I go here and change the seed, this looks like some sort of computer circuit or whatever. So it depends very much on how you arrange your colors. I have here this additional which I just created, and it looks like this. So the same source but different color ramp. And this is the basics of this effect. You can hide this map range, we don't need to change it, even though you can change it if you want to. That also will change the effect. Anyways, let's change this noise texture to be 4D instead. And what that allows us to do is to find a new iteration of the same seed. So I'm going very simple for this one. So very close of the number 0. Let's say you like this one very much, but you are not happy about something in this. I don't know what that something could be, but you wanna change something. So what you can do, you can change the roughness, and you can change it this way, or you can change the details, and it also has an effect for it. Or you can change the W value, which is kind of time. So that will create a similar kind of patterns. I mean, the amount of details will be always the same if you change only this time value here. If that makes any sense. Okay, so like this, and then change the... Okay, yeah, that's a little bit hard to see, but if we go forward this, you see that there is similar kind of patterns. At least somehow similar kind of patterns. So we wanna create a system that will generate for us always new patterns. So we need to animate this value, and we also might wanna animate all of these values so that it will randomly select us something here and everywhere. Open here new editor, and this is going to be a timeline. So let's change this to be timeline, and then we will go to frame 0. And my idea is that at start we are going to have here very simple patterns, something like that, and then it will gradually start increasing the amount of details. So it will increase the scale and then the distortion. So we will add here the node called value. So Shift+A search value. And we connect this value to the scale and then to the distortion. And then we will change this to be #frame. It means that it will change this value after every single frame. So that means that it will also increase those values and make it more complex all the time the more we go to the right. And I can control this with the cursor keys. Now you might wanna have this go a little bit slower than what it goes now. So you might wanna have it in a way that it will kind of here be only like 2 at the frame 5 or something like that. So to do that we will add here a math node. So Shift+A search math and add it here, and then we will make this to be divide. So let's connect it to the distortion also. And let's divide it with, let's say, 2, so it will be a little bit more slow. Hello, it's me from the future. If you divide these values enough, you will be able to animate these in a super cool way, as you can see. So it kind of makes the animation go slower. And that alone is a really cool effect. So I don't know. You can also multiply it if you wanna go faster to this direction. But this roundness also has an effect here. So you might wanna have a system here that will automatically also randomly change the details and the roundness. And let's put here a little bit more space. And then let's duplicate this value. And this actually is supposed to be also a frame. So hashtag frame here also. And then we need the node called white noise. Shift+A search white noise. And what is white noise doing? If we connect here, if we make this to be 4D and then connect this value to the W, and then we use a node triangle, Ctrl+Shift+left click here, and then start moving forward, we see that every frame it will give us single color, something between per black or per white. And this exactly is what we need, because this value here is something between 0 or 1. So 1 is per white and 0 is black. So if we just connect this to the roundness, we will always get something that will work with that specific value. So connect that here, and then let's see what is happening. So now we will randomly get something for this roundness value, something that works with it. But this details thing is completely different thing, because this works with 0 to 15. So how do we do that? We can again duplicate this, or we can connect this white noise to this also. But we need a map range that will convert the value of 0 to 1 to 0 to 15. And if we have somewhere the map range, it's there. Okay, let's add new one. So find here map range, and let's add it here. So it starts with 0 to 1. This is the value it's expecting to be having here, and we will put here to max 15. So now it basically is doing the thing. Hello, it's me from the future. If you wanna have here different white noise for that specific thing, you need to actually duplicate that and then connect it to the map range, and then this to the white noise texture. And then you will add here math node, and if you have here add and then whatever value to that, it will create different white noise for this node. And it will make sure that these are getting completely unique noise values. Alright, so let's look a little bit of these or checker textures. So if I change these, I can get very interesting looking new kind of patterns also. So this first in my case is not doing much, but if I move to the next mix node, I can create actually this kind of patterns, which sometimes are pretty useful. So I found out that the closer you are to the kind of limits of these mix nodes, the more interesting the pattern seems to be, in my opinion. So if it's very close of 0, it's more interesting than here in the middle. Or if I wanna have simple patterns, I can go to 0 with this specific. You believe me, I have done I think over 10 different blend files with similar setup and little variations, and the end result always is somehow different. So you just here change these, or you can also add here this same similar system with the white noise, and then it will automatically change these values for you. And sometimes the patterns actually look like a fabric or something like that. This, for example, I will go back. This looks like some sort of a fabric pattern in my opinion. So let's render this specific one out. So if I press F12, it will render it out. So we can see that this is a little bit blurry now when it's rendered out. And the reason why it's blurry is here. I will go here to the render properties and then film. So we have here this filter size thing. If I put here something much bigger, you see how it's getting more blurry. And if I put here 0, it's going to be sharp. So if I now render it again, I will get sharp pattern, and then if I put here something like maybe 3 would be fine. It will look a little bit more like a fabric. So it's up to you what you are doing. If you are doing fabric patterns or whatever, then you might wanna use also that filter size to have a little bit blurriness in it, and it will kind of mix the pixels a little bit together to create the fabric texture look more like a fabric, at least in my opinion. Some of my files actually were having this kind of vertical stripes or sometimes horizontal stripes. And how to do those? We need more space here. So what is the correct size for those stripes? If you wanna have these wide stripes, it's maybe, no, it's not this. It's not this either. I think this is good size for this stripe. So I will duplicate this specific checker texture and then I will mix it with this mix node. So Ctrl plus Shift plus right click, and now I am having duplicated version of this specific checker texture. And then I will press Ctrl plus T, and I have here this mapping node and then texture coordinates. And what can I do with this? I can now scale this. What's going on? Okay, so if I put here 0.5, I will get kind of double squares for this kind of areas. It will create again completely different kind of results for your thing if you mix it like that here. I'm not going to show it in this thing, it's up to you to experiment with this stuff, but instead what I do here is that I will put here for the y value to be 0. So with that I will get this kind of vertical stripes, which was the effect I wanted to have here. So now if I go here back to emission and make the thing render the final thing, I will start getting sometimes more of those stripes. And if I wanna change the bias of those, I can open this mix node and then go towards the stripes more. And that means that I will get more of those sometimes. Maybe I will change here something to have those to be a little bit more visible. I will Shift plus right click here and then Shift plus right click here to get these little dots here, and now I will unblock those. So now I can manually control the amount of details and roundness. And if I go here to frame, okay, here those are very much visible. So if I now change this W thing, I can get more of those with the horizontal, with the vertical stripes. I'm all the time just experimenting with this stuff. It's a little bit too complex to kind of simulate in your head. At least that's it, in my opinion, in my case. The stripes are there, but not very visible. Maybe we will add more contrast here. So obviously you don't need to change this vector value, this scale value here. If you don't wanna change the amount of details, you can instead put here like that, and then put this to the W value, to the time value, and then you can kind of look only for this type of textures with the timeline, and you can render those out also. You can also invert this. You can click here and then flip color ramp, and you will get kind of inverted version of the thing. It also sometimes looks better. Okay, one additional trick until I stop talking. So you can change the colors also randomly by adding here a hue and saturation node. So Shift plus A, search and find hue and saturation, and you add it there. And then just like before, you add here value node, and then you add here hashtag frame, and then connect it here to the hue, and then you will add here white noise. So Shift plus A, search white noise, and you connect it here with 4D and this here, and now you will always get random hue for each of the textures, as you can see. But I think this is actually a little bit too overwhelming to me, so I like to do a mix of this and then the normal one. So let's search and then find mix RGB node, and then add the colored one here and then the normal one here. And now with this I can control the amount of colored ones. So if I go here, I will get always this one, and if I go here, I will get always this one. So in, I don't know, something like that will give me a little bit randomness, but not too much. But yeah, I think this was everything I wanted to teach you in this specific video. I hope you enjoyed and learned so much from this video. So thanks for watching and God bless.